Glad to hear it. Welcome to the upper gun platform here at Fort Mackinac. My name is Niall. Joining me here is Andrew, and we're going to be... that's very nice. We've got lots of Andrews here today. Actually, every soldier here today except me is Andrew. Today we're going to be showing you how to properly clean, load, prime, and fire this Model 1841 6-pound field gun. That's kind of a big, long, complicated name for a cannon, but it's all pretty easy to understand. It's called a field gun because it's mounted on this large wheeled carriage. And these large wheels make it very easy to maneuver around out on a battlefield. You can see this tail spike here is designed to be hooked to a team of horses. You can cart this around from place to place very easily. It's called a 6-pounder because it's designed to fire a cannonball that weighs how much?
6 pounds.
6 pounds, exactly right. You can fire that 6-pound ball up to a maximum range of about 1 mile. For reference, the shores of Round Island across the channel there are just under a mile away. So we could fairly easily send a cannonball all the way across to the other island. However, at that range, this cannon is almost completely inaccurate, and I have absolutely no idea where on the island that cannonball would actually land. The best I can tell you is that they probably hit a tree. As you can see, that's not terribly specific. Now, a slightly more accurate range would be about a half a mile, right about where those ferry boats are turning out there, and if we could convince one of those ferry boats to stand still for us and just float still in the water, if Andrew and I were a particularly good cannon crew, we might be able to hit that that target at that distance about 1 in every 3 shots. So even at that range, it's not a terribly accurate weapon. Gunner's worm. See, it's a double corkscrew device that's going to run down the pole, run down the barrel there, and use that to grab out any debris that might be left over from our previous firing. Now, this ensures that debris does not clog up our cannon, which could prevent it from firing altogether. Now, the next tool that he's going to use is probably the most important. It's called the wet swab. He's going to run that down the barrel as well. The moisture that he's introducing serves to extinguish any sparks, embers, and flames that might be lingering down there in the back of the barrel. This is obviously pretty important because we don't want to load gunpowder onto a live spark. That could be a pretty bad day for Andrew up there at the front. Now, it's not only is he using moisture to extinguish those sparks, you hear that thunking sound, that's actually the air rushing back into the barrel. So he has pushed out all the air, meaning there's no oxygen down there for these sparks to burn. Now they should all be extinguished and it should be safe to load in our gunpowder charge. Today we're going to be using about a 3-ounce powder charge. It's wrapped there in aluminum foil. Now in the 1880s they would have been using a charge in a cloth bag, but the cloth tends to burn a lot more and sends little fragments of burning cloth down into the park below. We try to avoid that here today. Now you notice this ramrod that Andrew is using to seat the charge down to the back of the barrel is a slightly different shape than the other tools we've been using here today. It's got a bend in the end of the design that allows him to stand well off to the side. This is another safety feature that we use here today. That way, just in case something goes wrong and if that charge goes off prematurely, Andrew's not standing right in front of the muzzle of the gun. Alright, so now we've got our cannon in position, we can begin the priming process. One last step before we can fire, and Andrew's going to begin that by taking that brass spike, which will run down the touch hole, which pierces open the aluminum foil around our charge, exposing the powder inside to one of these. This is a friction primer. It's a historically accurate ignition device. It's what the soldiers would have been using to set off their cannons. And it's essentially a combination strike-anywhere match and hand grenade. You see, it's got a pin on it. And that pin is seated in a very friction-sensitive chemical, very similar to what you find in the head of a match. So when that pin gets pulled, it strikes through that chemical, which makes a spark. And that spark ignites gunpowder packed into the brass tube. That ignited gunpowder goes shooting down through our touch hole into our charge, where it will ignite the rest of our charge, and that makes the boom that you folks came up here for. Now, we are just about ready to fire. I do have to warn everyone that this will be somewhat loud. You may wish to cover your ears, but there are only 2 commands to fire this cannon. Everyone is ready? Ready! Ready! Fire! There's a cannon firing to welcome everyone to Fort Mackinac here.